interesting episode of Inside Out, and this week we have a topic which I think is long overdue. I have been treating issues on this program. I've heard a lot of things that have seemed to me incredible, things that just make me wonder that are there any laws concerning anything we do in this country, especially as it concerns labor. We have heard about the person who lost his arm and he was given 15,000 naira. That didn't even cover medical bills. And so today we'll be talking about labor laws. Do we have any? If we have, do we enforce them? If we don't enforce them, can I as an individual enforce my own rights if I believe my rights are infringed upon? Do I have any rights as an individual? Is there anything I should expect? And I think that we have a panel, like I always say, that would educate and enlighten us today, and that we would leave here, even the viewers at home, better informed and better able to operate. So I'm going to start my introductions from my left this time. For us to do any one of these, we must have legal representation. We must hear it from the point of view of the law as well. He's a barrister. He's Barrister Dele Ojogbede. I tried.
Yes, you tried.
Yes, he's the principal counsel of Dele Ojogbede and Co.
Better.
Yes, you're welcome, sir, to Inside.
Thank you.
Representing the Nigerian Labour Congress, please help me welcome Comrade Tunde Omotola. You're welcome to Inside. But this is an example of a Nigerian, I think, who a lot of us can learn from. We would hear her story, we would hear what happened to her and how she went about it. Please help me welcome Mrs. Abosede Okusaga.
Thank you.
And I think I'm going to start with you because you are the example I think that we need to start with before we even go into issues. Please tell us what your story is.
Thank you very much. I was in the banking industry for about 15 years to 16, and I was doing very well. I came in as a secretary. I did so well that I got to the level of working with the chairman, MD, CEO of a particular bank, a defunct bank now. Now, after leaving the MD's office, I was transferred because of my good performance to work in the banking stream. That's the real banking. Yeah. You know, I said I was a secretary. Yeah. So because of my high level of performance, I was converted and made to work in the field. Also, in continuation of the good performance and acceptance of the excellent job done, I was moved and promoted to be the business manager of a branch in Okari. In the course of the duty, we will give out loans, we will bring money, bring profits, make losses. I went into this relationship with a customer. He needed credit facilities. And I think the customer got about 6 million then. And the customer was doing well. All of a sudden, something happened. God knows what. We went to his shop, and before we knew it, everything was empty. You know, what was supposed to be our collateral, that is the stock. Sometimes we use the stock. It was supposed to be the collateral. It was empty. I learned that this guy had also taken loans from other banks. He was, using one loan to pay the other. We started pursuing him, followed him up. We could get very little from him. Just about that time, the Soludo then, the CBN governor, came up with amalgamation of banks. And then some staff had to go in the process. I think it was the last stage. I was part of the people that left the bank in the last stage of the consolidation and given a letter of cessation of employment, which I accepted in good faith. And in that letter, my entitlement was stated therein to be so amount, and that the bank would pay me maybe in some few weeks after it was ready. While I was waiting for that, I got another letter saying that my entitlement, that is something that I have worked for about 16 years. You know, when you are in an organization, you would know that when you leave, you'll be entitled to something. Final entitlement.
Yeah.
You know, so I was told that, I was given another letter stating that I should pursue that customer.
And get your entitlements from him.
Yeah, no.
Oh, what?
That I should pursue him and get the bank's money from the customer before, or that they would apply my entitlement to the indebtedness of the customer. My husband is also a banker. In his experience as a banker, he told me, boss, the way this thing is going, you need to be smart. Make all the necessary copies of every documentation between you and the customer. So my husband told me to make copies of those documents, which were included approvals of this loan, meaning that I did not unilaterally
decide to give him
grant the loan. I did not sneak out that money for my family members. I did it in the course of the business. You know? So, because my husband told me, I made these copies while I was still in the banking industry. So as soon as I was out, I started getting letters from them saying all sorts. Then, what is the next thing to do? We moved to see a lawyer who now started advising us on what to do.
Okay. Let's take a break first of all. Welcome back. We're still talking labor laws. What happened when she came to you? And what is it that people should know?
When she came to me, she was referred to me by somebody who knew me very well. We advised her that in the light of the situation, we need to take some proactive steps.
Did you think she had a case?
Well, certainly we believe she had a case.
Why?
Because the loan that the company wanted to convert her terminal benefits for happens to be a loan that she could not have granted on her own alone. It was a loan that was properly approved by the appropriate authority within the bank, which was granted out. And everything she did as at that material time, she did it within her power as a staff, you know. So we now felt she had a very good case, that the bank did not have the power or authority to convert the entitlement to settle a bank's customer. When somebody approaches a bank for loan, you know, you have to know immediately that the loan can eventually turn to be profitable to the bank, in which case they make their interest, or becomes a bad loan, in which case they make losses. So the workers just do their work, and so the way it turns out to be, the workers should not exactly carry the blame.
They should not be totally held.
Exactly. Otherwise, it's like holding somebody to ransom, or using a higher position to victimize somebody whose position is apparently weak.
So that is illegal.
It was apparently illegal. You know, and we first wrote to the bank telling them that what they intend to do was illegal, and that they need to pay that money. We gave them ultimatum within which to pay, failing which we might have to resort to litigation. Yeah. When they didn't pay, eventually we sued them to court. Unfortunately, we were able to get judgment within a year for her. And the court not only ordered the bank to pay the terminal benefit, they also ordered the bank to pay her substantial damages.
So that works in Nigeria. You get damages in
yes, yes, something substantial.
Get damages here.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, I heard from the grapevine that the bank quarreled with their lawyer for not advising them properly. Yeah, that the lawyer ought to have let them know that they have a bad case, in which case they will have just paid the woman's money instead of paying heavy damages. You know, so eventually,
So they paid the terminal
and they paid the heavy damages.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've heard several things, and I just want to know if they're legal before we look at it from the labor law point of view.
Okay.
Where they said if you're going to be employed in a bank as a female, they say to you, you cannot get pregnant within 1 or 2 years of employment. That's number one. Two, for the duration of your stay in this bank, for instance, you can only have 3 maternity leaves, which means they have done family planning for you, whether you like it or not. And the worst of all, where people are employed through agents of some sort, and I hear that is going on everywhere now. And on paper, you are entitled to a particular amount of money, and they don't tell you beforehand, but at the point of being paid, you find out that almost 50% of your money is taken out monthly for the agents. Are these legal?
All these are actually illegal. If you look at the Constitution of Nigeria, Section 34, makes provision for human dignity, the dignity of the human person, that every citizen is entitled to the dignity of his human or her human person. So that if you do anything that is
I was told
derogatory,
the pregnancy one is not illegal, that everybody does that.
it's actually illegal. You see, the problem we have in Nigeria is that most people don't know their rights. Some know their rights, but they don't know how to go about fighting for it. You know, it's one of the fundamental rights enshrined in the Constitution that every citizen has dignity of his person. So when you feel that your dignity of your person has been violated, the appropriate thing to do is to
But if
consult
you
your
sign
lawyer.
a contract
Uh-huh.
before going into the job saying, I agree that I am not going to have a baby for 3 years, and then you get pregnant and they terminate your appointment, have they done anything wrong?
If they do terminate your appointment, they have done something wrong. You know, even
Or
if
you agree?
Because you
if you
have
agree,
signed.
if you sign,
Yeah.
there are some
They
things.
make it part of your conditions of employment.
Yeah.
Now, the point is, can you, at the point of employment, can you say that is illegal?
The problem is that most Nigerians don't want to exploit. You know, the law is so wide and the law is developing every day. You know, when you are entering into such a relationship and they force you to sign, truly you may sign because you are desperate for that job. But if you have that courage to want to take it up for a legal contest, whether what they have done is actually, it's not every action of a human being that is legally enforceable. The court will look at it, is it reasonable for you to peg somebody who wants to settle down just because it's working for you? You know, there are some contracts that are not enforceable.
Is that one of them?
I should think so. I should think so.
Okay, comrade, because this is very important. Are there laws, do we have laws guiding us as Nigerians in the labor market?
Of course we do.
We do.
Yeah.
That whole book is the law.
Yeah. This is in fact it's been reviewed.
There's plenty law like that.
Plenty, all these are laws. In fact, it's been reviewed of recent in 2004.
Yes.
At least to kind of update some of the things that are obsolete here. Sorry, I don't know if I'm right to use
Yes,
that
sir,
word.
you are correct.
Yeah. In here.
Let me take a break. After the break, I want you to tell us what should be my expectations. I'm young graduate, casual worker. What are the basic things that every person intending to get a job should know going into the labor market?
Okay.
Let's take a break first of all. You're welcome back. We're still talking labor laws. Comrade, before I went on the break, I was saying to you, what should I know as somebody who's about to work for the first time? What are the basic rights that I should demand, for instance?
Thank you very much. You see, part of our problem in this country is that maybe we need to be called Russia instead of Nigeria. Do you know why? Most often because you're a young graduate, as a school leaver, in the university, in the lower cadre, you're looking for a job. Then somebody just come up and give you a book to sign. You refuse to look at the content because you are so much in a hurry.
Yeah,
Just spend your
it's
signature.
desperation.
And that's where you need to find that most of these obsolete or obnoxious laws
Yes.
or
Well,
clauses.
the examples I pointed out now,
Yeah.
are they against labor law?
Of course.
They are.
That's why, as you were talking, I was trying to open some of the aspects that go against what they did to her. Cap 198 of the 1974, they violated it.
But not all of us know the Cap 198.
That's what I'm saying.
the problem.
In fact, when you go to Google and you click,
But you see,
all
again,
these
I have
things
to agree
out.
with you that if you know that something affects you, it is your duty to find
say
out.
exactly.
Yes, I would
Yes.
have to agree with you.
You need to
on
find
that.
out. Because, most of these people, particularly these people that are in the private sectors, they borrowed all these ideas from all these our colonial masters. And some of them, unfortunately, permit me to use that word unfortunately, they've been there. They've seen all these things, how it works over there. But when they come in here, because of their pocket, some of our so-called managers, chief MDs,
Chief
they call them
executives.
CEOs.
CFO.
CEO.
You know what they're after is that they want to save for their 10th generation. They will exploit every one of us seated here to save for their own 10th generation so that they won't work under us. And when they see labor agitating, they call us tout. Well, hardly can you get, maybe even the times of power Imudu, it wasn't a tout. Because it was the level of education at that time, it got what he wanted at that time. But today, those of us who are state secretaries or general secretaries or whatever, we are all graduates. So we know our right. Incidentally, courses are coming up, industrial relation, to teach what it's all about. Labor issues, employment issues, welfare issues. And incidentally too, our government have a fault in this. Like if you go to the factory laws, you go to compensation laws, which are all here.
You have factory laws.
Yeah, they're all here. They are here.
Nigerians don't read.
We really
We
don't
don't
read,
read.
honestly. Because how many of you have heard all this before?
But the issue is this, man. You see, it's not even the issue of reading now, but the issue of implementation. But we thank God that the judiciary, they turned a new leaf now, that they give judgment as it is. Not looking at any other side, but what the law says about it. So it's not left for whichever lawyer you contacted to prove your case beyond reasonable doubt. I mean, when you hear it, if I read, there are some of these things,
Can you share with us a few?
Okay, for instance, like the 1A section 5 of it, say no worker shall be bound by virtue of any contract under this act to answer for the debt, default, or miscarriage of any other person.
Are you serious? That's so clear.
So
Yeah.
Did you know it, Mrs. Okusaka, before then?
I knew it,
You knew
even though
that-
I didn't read it from the book.
Well, you knew that there
But I've
was
worked
something
for so
to protect
many
you.
years, so I got to know.
Because
some of those things.
that is so direct that it is obvious they don't have a case.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering why they went to court or allowed you go to court. When that happened to you, did you have colleagues that happened to as well? Who maybe they had clients with bad debts and customers
That happens all,
all
the time in the bank.
And a lot of
I
the
remember
time,
a case.
how many of them took legal action apart from you?
I don't think there was any.
Did you know the Nubife he's talking about?
I did.
Have you ever reported a case to Nubife?
No, I didn't go
Why?
to Nubife because my bank was a private bank and they did not allow us to join Nubife.
Okay.
They did not allow
That's
us.
that's where I was
Yeah.
going.
There's a solution to
And
that.
we were more than 50. Yet, Nubife could not be promoted in the bank I was. because the management did not allow unionization.
So
within
if
the
you
bank.
joined Nubife, what happened? You'll be fired. Or
Like
what?
anybody who muted the idea then will be fired.
I see.
Yeah.
So that
It's
how
like
do
you're
you,
bringing in a change into that organization. And some people might suffer for it. You know?
because that's what I was going to say, that would your management wherever you work allow you go and join the labor group of that organization, for instance? Do they let them do that?
They may not. We have cases like that. But the law provides that you have no right. No employer has any right under this law to stop anybody from joining the union that will protect his or her
What if they
interest.
fire you and look for some flimsy
Of course, you have a remedy to that. You can go to AIP to lodge a complaint. They look at it. Go to Ministry of Labour. They look at it. That is
That's
even
so far. Ministry of Labour down there.
no. They have a branch here in Lagos.
Okay, let me talk to you, Barrister Dele, from the legal point of view. As a Nigerian in a workplace, what are the basic things, I keep asking, that I should know? What are the things I should look out for? Especially, like I said, with the contract staff, things like casual workers, they are the most taken advantage of that I know. What are the things they should know legally?
Thank you. First and foremost, every Nigerian should have a copy of the Constitution.
Yeah.
1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay.
Your rights are listed therein, and if you feel that your right has been violated, just consult a lawyer, and the case will be.
But you see,
Be
how do
taken
you,
up.
again, that's what I was saying. You, first of all, have to know what those rights are.
Right, sir.
Yeah, and this
order-
Constitution is not expensive. With about 1,000 naira, you can get a copy. Okay, thank you. First and foremost, I have to commend this type of program, Agatha program, for bringing for enlightening members of the public, because what we lack in Nigeria is knowledge. Nigerians are suffering for poverty of knowledge, and this type of program is bringing knowledge to the doorstep of citizens. So, well, what I have to say is that the law is there. It is illegal to expose any citizen to indignity. So where you ask an employee to remove all clothes just because you want to be sure nothing is being stolen or nothing will be stolen, you have exposed that person to indignity. The question now is that person ready to fight you? Then there is an important point I need to mention.
Yes.
The labor law we are relying on in Nigeria is almost obsolete in the sense that we are talking of a labor law act 1974.
Whoa.
We are talking, that's almost 74 from 2001. We are talking of almost 35 years.
Whoa.
So you can imagine it's overdue for review. And I'm using this opportunity to appeal to members of the National Assembly, especially those who are
Well,
coming
shouldn't
in.
that be championed by the NLC?
Well, they can champion it. You know, a bill has to be forwarded to the National Assembly for amendment of the Labor Act so that they can incorporate more stringent measures to protect citizens, especially in restoring dignity of the human person, which is presently lacking. And let me read just to make it a little bit clear. Section 21 says, offenses. An employer who enters into any agreement or contract or gives any remuneration for employment contrary to this part, that is to this act, or declared by this part to be legal or lawful, or makes any deduction from the wages of any worker, or receives any payment from any worker contrary to this part, contravenes several sections. They
So
listed
all
the
those,
section.
this is talking about like those agents and code that
Yeah, they are contravening the law, but the issue is who brings them to justice.
But NLC, but you know this is happening, don't you?
Yeah.
Now,
Finish.
there's an important point.
Yes.
He said that having contravened this section,
Yes.
such person shall be guilty of an offense and liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 800 naira or for a second or subsequent offense to a fine not exceeding 1,500. So in such a situation, an employer would rather prefer to commit the offense and then pay.
The fine.
They can even pay in advance.
I have to agree with you on that. That
So
is ridiculous.
so this law is due for amendment. You know, so that law must have been made as at that time, where when some Nigerians who are at the lower cadre were earning as little as 100 naira, and yet they were feeding their family. So if somebody was earning 100 naira and an employer commits an offense against such person, asking him to pay 800 naira makes sense.
Yes. But
You
now
know,
it doesn't
because
do.
with about 2,000 or 3,000 naira, then you can buy a new car. So to fight this battle, which you have instigated through your program, I hope that members of the National Assembly are listening, that the Labour Act, as presently constituted, has become obsolete. It's no longer protecting the labor. Labor has been exposed to indignity every day, just like you mentioned several cases.
Yes.
So it is high time they started repairing the law by making stringent amendments to the law, so that the law can be more proactive and protect people rather than the way it is now. Thank you.
Comrade, is that one of the major problems you have?
In fact, one out of many.
Okay.
Because, like you rightly says, that part of our problem is this, that some of us go to school. We only learn how to read and write, but we are not enlightened at all. Even when your right is given to you on platter of gold, what do? You throw it into the mud.
Explain that.
Fine. Like for instance, you have a union, your place of work. One, your work environment is not even available, talk less of being battered.
Conducive.
And instead of going there to explain to your union officials, what do? You keep it to yourself. If I tell these union people, they will go and collect bribe from my people. We're not saying that we're saints. Let me not say that here. But the fact is that, as a lawyer just said now, you need to brief your executive or whatever that is happening to you. I've suffered this, I've suffered that. Like he rightly said that our senators, House of Assembly, they're not thinking about us. Generation. I want to underscore that word. They're 10th generation future. Because if they're thinking about us, they don't know that what they do today will affect that their 10th generation. Because if our children becomes layabout, armed robbers, they will attack their children. If you prepare for my future today, you are all preparing, we all selfish. You are preparing for your own future and your children's future. Security. Because it's only when I make you happy that I can claim to be happy and my children can be happy. Me and my wife can be happy. Let me give you another example. One of our Senate presidents was once a communication minister. At that time, what did he say?
Telephone is it's only for the rich. I
But
can never
today-
forget that statement.
But he became a president, Senate president. Did we challenge it? We kept quiet.
Let's take
In
a
so many
break. When
ways.
we come back from the break, we have to go back to the bigger language. It seems that's where there's break. Let's take a break. You're welcome back. We're still talking labor laws. And if, for instance, like I said, with the casual workers and a lot of these people who are here, which is one of the most recent now, how almost all the young graduates who are being employed through agencies. As a victim, what can I do? If they are using something there and tampering with it to suit themselves because it is outdated and needs to be reviewed and changed, what can I do?
As an individual, you must be prepared to stand up and fight for your rights.
Okay.
Like Bob Marley said, get up and stand up. Get up, stand up,
Stand up
fight
for
for
your
your
rights.
rights. You know. So if your right has been infringed and you feel comfortable with it, I'm sorry for you. You know, Section 5 of the Labour Act says that there should be no deductions,
Exactly.
except for maybe Provident Fund or the pension scheme.
Tax.
So apart from those two categories,
Can an agency say because they employed you, they are going to be taking a part of your salary?
it is illegal.
And it is being done so openly.
Section
Illegal.
81 of 198 does not allow it. If you even if you sign it, it's being void from that very moment you sign it.
It becomes a void contract.
That's information. Okay, so tell me what to do. If that is happening to me now, today, because these are big institutions who every month are raking in millions. I've heard that a lot of these agencies are run by the organs of the institutions themselves, the banks, the insurance companies.
To rip
So
off
they're
people.
sitting down somewhere and taking in millions every month for nothing. While other people are working, what can be done?
What can be done? I'll just tell you this. Let the people who are victims, let them gather together, then consult a legal counsel. Then an action will be taken, and they can even get heavy damages from whoever is practicing such absurdity. That's the truth. Just like the comrade said, it's quite unfortunate that in Nigeria we are practicing encumbered democracy. Our democracies is an encumbered one. Encumbered is like a democracy
That
that,
his hands are
that is
tied.
in shame, because whether you like it or not, this democracy was packaged and handed over to us by the military on their terms. That is why you can see some of the ex-soldiers in sensitive positions. People who have ruled us in military uniform still
And now wearing agbada and ruling us still.
heading our National Assembly. So what laws do we expect from such people? You know, but I know Nigeria is changing gradually. New leaders are emerging day in, day out. But let's start from the first step by calling for the reform of the law. Let the law incorporate more stringent measures that can call employers of labor to questions. Those who are setting up an employment agency, let the law makes it illegal expressly.
Wait, is that setting up an employment agency? Is that legal?
You can set up an employment agency.
What you cannot do is to take from the person's
You
salary.
cannot, because if you set up an employment agency, the proper thing is for you to get your commission from the employer
Yeah.
who has given you a job. You know,
Are
this
you
thing
serious?
happens
That's
in
like being
UK.
an advertising agency.
Exactly.
Your employer should
You know,
pay you.
Exactly.
But you know, in Nigeria, because the law is weak, people tend to want to take the maximum advantage of the law, knowing that at the end of the day, nobody is going to call them to question. So this is the crux of the matter.
Okay. Comment.
My questions will be two. One, if a Nigerian who is not expressly part of the labor by employment called an apprentice, after serving a man for about 7-10 years, and at the end of those years, the man sends this young man away, sometimes with peanuts, sometimes completely nothing. Is there any law, sir, the lawyer, that will protect such an individual? First. Second question, those in one-man business, some of them are employed just anyhow. Are they also protected by Nigerian labor law?
Well, with regard to smaller businesses, Section 7 of the Labour Law makes it mandatory that where an employer employs a worker, within 3 months of the employment, he has to give him a written contract. That is the terms of the employment. We should set out the duties.
Whether it's a one-man business
It doesn't
or not.
matter, because the labour law applies to all.
Okay.
We should set out the duties, responsibilities of expected of the worker. And we also set out other factors like the working hours, the wages payable, and so
In
many
the absence of that, because a lot of the time we know that doesn't happen, and we know how it is. You serve somebody for 15 years and you're about to start out on your, sometimes he's not happy you're going and he says you're on your own and there's nothing protecting you. Do you have a right, or do you have a case if you decided to sue that man?
You have a case. The Constitution protects you. You know. Then under the labour law too, employment contract can be oral. If you have oral employment contract, you can also you can also enforce it by getting in touch with the council. Then with regard to workers who work in the informal sector,
Yeah.
like working with spare parts dealers,
Yeah.
serving them for 10, 15 years,
Yeah.
you know, such workers, I will advise them to, when they are entering into such arrangement, let them insist on having a contract paper, which the court can help them to enforce, you know. But apart from a contract paper, there are other factors the court can take into consideration in enforcing the right of that laborer or worker, you know. But under the law, is as well protected.
Well, I just want to pass a comment.
Okay.
I just want to encourage people to try not to be lazy about the things they do, because it's this kind of change starts with individuals.
Yeah.
You know, it comes with the individual, the government, the media. You know, we all play a part in helping our labor in this country. Because if people decide to be ignorant of their rights and they're lazy about persecuting people that have done wrong to them, then that's a problem. We need to study these things. We need to read about all these things. Even the FOIB now that they just signed is enough for us to come out, seek for documents, and pursue our rights. It's what we're supposed to do. So I want to encourage people, at least if we want people, 1 or 2 people start to come out, then everybody sees a reason not to ignore any problem that they have.
Okay. I also want to say something at this point, and I'm going to ask you, please, that when we have cases like this, where somebody has fought a system and won, that it should be publicized, because it helps people know that it is possible. The greatest killer that we have in this country is doubt.
Ignorance and doubt.
And fear. That you cannot fight a system. People believe that, who am I to go and take on a bank? Who am I to go and fight government?
With regard to what you said, I will urge Labour, the workers' union, to find a way of liaising with lawyers to get information.
Yes.
And then they publish in their journals and make it, if possible, available freely to workers, so that workers can become enlightened and know that people have challenged. You can challenge
it.
Helps.
It helps these people. It was one woman, Rosa Parks, who took up a challenge that made everybody else know that they can challenge a system. It's just all it takes. Some people just lack the nerve. They just need to see. We're all doubting Thomases. Just let us see one person, then everybody will suddenly have a voice.
I want to talk about the plight of workers in all these factories, contract workers. Their plights are quite pathetic, I must tell you. The contract workers constitute 70 to 80% of the overall workers. And because they are contract workers, they are only meant to be seen, not heard. See, their condition of working is quite pathetic. They beg for, hand gloves. They beg for, proper working conditions. And they can't even agitate. If they want to agitate, the contractor will be begging them, please, I don't want my contract to be taken away from me. It's quite pathetic.
It's only in this country that people work 12 to 12 every day. Casual workers, they work 12 to 12. The normal working hours is 8 hours. Casual workers work 12 to 12. They tend to do extra time and they are not paid. These are things I've witnessed. When you fight that, I need to be paid for overtime, they will tell you it's either you lose the job and people that are ready to do it want to come. I want to ask a question. People get injured in their hand. They tell them because you're a casual, you have no rights, or they can't attend to you in the company hospital. You would have to treat yourself. They pay them 50,000-40,000 naira for a damaged hand. It's a pity that people are suffering, and we Nigerians are the architects of this our suffer.
There is no law that says if a company made the laws that the casual or the contract staff, because I don't believe there's anything like casual workers, it's the contract staff. It now depends on the duration, that says you should pay less than what it was originally agreed, whether orally
Okay, is it legal for people to make, whether you are contract or regular or full-time, can a company deduct money from your salary because they say they did not make a profit?
That's what I'm saying is wrong.
Because the question becomes, do they add when they make a profit?
That's it.
And then let me ask you, how long can you be a contract worker for in a company?
Just
Can
2
you
years.
be in a,
Just 2 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So they can't keep you like 5 years contract?
No, the law says, that's why I'm saying that some of these laws that our people are writing for us, they're not taking us into consideration while doing the writing. For instance, the law says that you can keep a contract worker for 3 months. After 3 months, you're supposed to dispense with that worker if he or she is no longer useful to you. But anything after 3 months, it is assumed that that person is of essence to you. And at the end of the day, if you can keep that person up to the tune of 2 years, it is assumed in law that he is now a full-fledged staff of that organization.
But banks keep contract workers for ages.
It's not only a bank, man.
Insurance companies.
It's not only bank. It's not only insurance.
So what are you doing?
Well, that's why you see that we go out picketing. When we use the word picketing, is when we find that some people have worked up to 2 years and above, and they are not staffed. So if we are notified, then we'll go there picketing.
Let me ask you a question. All these workers, are they automatically members of the Nigerian Labour Congress?
Once you are a worker,
Yes.
the duty of Nigerian Labour Congress is to protect you.
Let me ask you this as NLC. Can you hear of a situation, maybe a third party came to report it, maybe the people in there are too scared. Maybe I live next door to a factory where I know that they are treating people with indignity.
Yeah.
Can I bring it to your notice?
Of course.
And you will act on it,
Exactly.
even if the people themselves do not want it?
Yes.
You can.
You see, usually, sometimes when we say picketing,
Yes.
it's not the people really that will make use of, because we have other affiliates of NLC.
Yeah.
So we ask people to donate membership for that picketing. So the management cannot pick anybody and say, look, you are one of the victims, or you are one of the people that attacked me. I want to appeal to the government that this law we ought to throw into the dustbin so that we can get something much better that will befit Nigeria.
Challenges.
We said we want to build a mega nation. Abi? Then let's build a mega labor movement.
Labor law.
Thank you very much to all of you on the panel. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. If you have comments and suggestions on this topic, please send an email to us at insideoutwithagatha@yahoo.com or get to our website, which is www.insideoutmedia.tv. Or you can contact us on Facebook via www.facebook.com/Agatha Amata. A special thank you to Voltic Water for providing us with the water, and to Kelu Image Consultants for our fashion styling, jewelry by Art Smith Collections, and the lovely outfit I'm wearing to Vi Gold. Thank you to Accord for the hair and the makeup. Until next week when we come again talking about something else equally as interesting. Bye-bye and see you next week.